From all over the country, the very best accounting students converge on Sunway City. Over the years, Sunway College has developed thousands of successful accountants.
We are the largest provider of professional accountants to the Big Five in Malaysia. This is a serious profession, and at Sunway College, we mean business.
Hello, everyone. This is Brian here from ACCA, and thank you very much to Sunway Test. I've been invited to come and just have a light-hearted chat about your passport to success with ACCA. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And so I'm just here to give a very brief introduction to what exactly ACCA is, and also to talk about some of the maybe the stories of what ACCA really is about, and also to correct maybe some misconceptions on what ACCA actually is. So a little bit about myself. I am an ACCA graduate as well. I completed my ACCA at Sunway Test, and now I work for ACCA as a senior education manager. So just want to go on to the first slide that we're going to show you. It's just the story on what ACCA really is about. So this is basically the journey which a typical student would go through as they complete the ACCA. As you can see, it can start from the SPM or O-level graduate. So if you are out there and you are a fresh high school graduate, congratulations. So this is probably an opportunity to take a look at what ACCA has to offer. And so it moves forward into CAT, the Certified Accounting Technician program, and it takes about 9 papers to complete, more or less about a year. And then from there, it goes on into ACCA. So I think we just need to talk about what the structure of ACCA actually is like. There is 3 main elements. We call it the 3 E's. There's exams, ethics, and experience. Okay, so 3 E's: exams, ethics, and experience. So exams within ACCA, there are actually 13 papers organized over 3 levels. So there's the knowledge level, the skills level, and the strategic professional level, 13 papers to pass. Then there is the ethics, where we have our very special ethics and professional skills module, which you will need to complete in order to equip yourself with the professional skills and the ethics required of an accountant, because ethics is at the forefront of everything that we do in ACCA. And last of all, you will need experience. You can't be a ACCA member, and you cannot hold those prestigious letters behind your name without experience. So we require 3 years of practical experience in a related field, hopefully at one of our approved employers. And yes, that's it. So 3 E's, remember, your journey is to have ethics, exams, and experience. And from there, you will proudly earn your ACCA title. Then after that, so how does this work in Malaysia is that having ACCA as your, we could say your mother professional qualification, you can then join the MIA as a member, and from there you can be a professional chartered accountant under MIA and hold the CA-M title in Malaysia that certifies you as a chartered accountant in Malaysia. So the journey itself is pretty straightforward. It is entirely up to you on what pace and speed you want to do it. I will never say that it is a very easy course to do. I think nothing worth doing is going to be very easy. I would say that if you manage your time well, and of course listen to your instructors or tutors guidance, such as at Sunway Test, then it's definitely doable. Thousands and thousands of Sunway Test students have already cleared this, so you can do it as well. And for those of you who are already on your journey, don't give up. It's definitely worth it in the end, let me promise you that. So let's go on to the next slide. We are here to talk about what exactly we look at in the future. So as usual, we always ask a lot of questions on what is accounting going to look like in the future? What do accountants still have jobs? Is it a sunset career path? And I'm here to tell you that's a resounding no. It's a resounding no, because I think we as an institution, we have to embrace change. And secondly, is that the things that make people fearful of your future careers and things like that, they affect every industry. It doesn't matter whether you're an accountant or a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or even how to say, even someone who is serving tables, a part-time waiter. You are affected by technology, and it's not to say that our industry can avoid or ignore technology. We just have to move with the flow. In fact, a lot of what we do now is increasingly value added. We do less and less of the stuff which wastes our time. We do more of the stuff that generate value for our clients when we are professional accountants. So that's why in ACCA we have these 7 quotients, as you can see over here. It's not just about knowing debits and credit. In fact, the modern accountant probably will never see a ledger on paper after they finish studies. They will never see a ledger. It's all done for you. The computer will balance the accounts. I guarantee you they are balanced. It could be all wrong, but they are all balanced. And what's the accountant for then? As you can see here, there are the 7 quotients that we at ACCA hope to inspire and drive our accountants to achieve. Of course, you still need the technical and ethical competencies, which is the little red circle in the middle of that graphic. You still need to know your stuff as an accountant. No one else is going to know it, So you have to know your stuff. You need to know the financial standards or whatever standards we are working on at that time. And you also have a lot of other things which you could consider them soft or career skills like IQ and EQ, digital skills. There's even emotional intelligence and creative intelligence right now, because we live in a world where finance is very fluid. Like just a simple question of whether a company is a going concern, whether it is going to last for the next few years, is a difficult question to answer nowadays. Especially, like you might have been doing well, and then suddenly COVID happens. Oh no! And because COVID has happened, it has led to some issues with your going concern. You don't know whether you're going to survive the next year, and who will be able to tell you or guide you on whether or not you can pass that would be an accountant. Yes, definitely an accountant. He will look at your business and be able to advise you on these things. So just want to say to all the future accountants here, don't be afraid that your job's going to disappear. That's a lot of clickbait. People like to say, technology will destroy 30,000 jobs. They always forget to say that technology will also create 50,000 jobs or 100,000 jobs. The number of jobs will actually go up. Every time there is a technological evolution in history, the number of jobs goes up. It doesn't go down, it goes up. But of course, they want to scare you into buying newspapers and subscribing to their website. Oh, very scary. So take it with a pinch of salt. Yes, 30,000 jobs will be lost. Those will be the different type of jobs, but 50,000 new jobs will be created. Just think about it. 10 years ago, there's no such thing as a TikTok influencer. There's no such thing 10 years ago, but now there is. So don't worry. Your job is to study hard, get your technical and ethical expertise up there, and learn all the soft skills that you can use to embrace the future. So talking about embracing the future, I have a very special individual here called Xiong Yang. How are you, Xiong Yang? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Brian.
Oh, hello. Okay, so you are a Sunway Test alumni, a very recent one. Congratulations. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from, and why do you take ACCA? So where are you from, and why do you take ACCA?
All right, so I suppose I should start with high school. I didn't come from this national school. Throughout my life, I was in the Chinese system. So it was SJKC, and then for my high school education, I did it in Kuancheng. So I left high school with a UEC. So unlike most of the people who joined the program, I did not have A-level or diploma, nor was it pre-U. I joined with a UEC, and about ACCA, it was just one of those things that it didn't first occur to me, because when I think about it, back in high school, I didn't really consider myself to be doing accounting or bookkeeping for a living. To me, I thought it was just something, that I just do in homework and just enough for me to clear the papers and finish my education in high school. But then I got around to thinking, okay, then maybe stability is something that my other passions cannot offer. I was actually thinking about going into advertising and maybe doing more of copywriting, because I sort of liked to write when I was in high school. And then, of course, things changed. I realized that that accounting is not as boring as it seems to be, especially when you're at the professional level. And over the years, also, I've done some freelance work. But I'm proud to say that of all the stuff that I've done, the field which brings most stability has to be accounting and bookkeeping. And most of the stuff that I've done there, still the tools, the knowledge which I've gained through accounting still resonates with me pretty well today.
Okay, well, that's a very broad set of benefits that you have mentioned through growing up through high school, experiences that you came up through high school and found out about. You mentioned something like advertising and things. So we had a little bit of a talk backstage before we came on, and Xiong Yang here is a very unique individual. He's a little bit of entrepreneur. Yes. I want to ask, like, now that you're studying accounting, and I think a lot of young people nowadays are also looking, you know what, I want to do entrepreneurship, be an entrepreneur as well. I want to generate my own values in life. I don't want to work for people. So you have some experience in entrepreneurship. Can you share those experiences, and how does studying ACCA actually help you be a better entrepreneur in that sense?
Right. Okay. I'll start by first addressing the banner. Personally, I'm an ACCA student. I've never been through the CAT program, so my opinions and views would only be structured around the ACCA curriculum. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share much about CAT. So, with regards to entrepreneurship, I think it started early on, and I would attribute that to not myself, but in fact my parents. I grew up in this printing business, and in the peripherals you have graphic design, multimedia, and the stuff that mass comm students do a lot. So I grew up in that kind of environment, and it's only natural for me to progress into something to do with that field. But accounting, I feel, is very essential for whatever ventures you want to partake in, because the main reason being, you can't escape having to submit your taxes. You have to file your taxes every year, if you're making money. And when it comes to keeping your business in check, it all boils down to record keeping, and record keeping is intricately linked with what you'll be studying in accounting. So if I would start any business, any size, or whatever industry it is, I think at the foundation of it, still you could still see some semblance of accounting, right? As they say, accounting is the language of business. So if you really want to start a business, or if you really want to venture out on your own, accounting, be it a degree or professional certification in accounting such as ACCA, will help prepare you for these challenges.
Okay, that's a very succinct explanation. That's excellent, Xiong Yang. So you have recently graduated from the ACCA course at Sunway Test. Would you like to talk about how because you're also an entrepreneur at that time, and you're doing your own thing, you're driving your own projects and things like that, and at the same time you were also studying ACCA. So how do you overcome some of the challenges that you met while studying? You know, so because you've cleared all the exams. How do you overcome that, and what advice would you give to someone who is taking up ACCA and, you know, I need to maybe manage my time? How would you do that? How would you do that?
Okay, we'll start off first with there's this TED speaker, I think by the name of I think Andrew Tan. So he in his talk about the Harvard experience, he brought up this social life, this college life triangle. So at the three vertices, you have you have social life, you have good grades, and you have enough sleep. Choose two. Well, I believe you don't necessarily have to choose two. In fact, there is quite a solid way in which you could integrate all those three. And in my case, my other commitments aside from studying weren't that particularly overwhelming, I would say. Like, even though I spoke with Brian and said, you know, since December 2018, I've probably racked up about close to 515 plus projects, big and small. It doesn't really take up a lot of your time, because these are like short sprints. You know, they're not marathon. Marathon, I would say, would be the bookkeeping clients which I have. But you see, because it's a marathon, you're keeping books for them, you know, year round. So those type of clients, perhaps you might not personally be able to handle, you know, too many of. Which is why I also, for most of these projects, I bring in my my peers who are in the same course, you know, course mates. I'll bring them into the efforts, and they would actually help me with the bookkeeping tasks. So that's how I managed to also offset some of the workload which I experienced, you know, in the time mentioned. So, and preparing for your papers when you are being bogged down by workload, that was something I thought I could handle pretty well. It was up until when I did my advanced audit and insurance last June, when I realized in the month before, I was just swamped with work. And it so happens that, you know, for all the fresh tasks which I take on from clients, I usually won't delegate it, because you know, I still got to figure out the workflow. So it so happens that I was doing you know, a few tasks from a client from Melbourne. So I had a tough time, because I had to juggle between that and my AAA studies. And eventually, you know, in about July, you know, the news wasn't so good. I thought I would be able to progress, you know, unabated into the next paper, but unfortunately, you know, it was a marginal fail. You know, I got about 47. So I realized that it was quite a huge sacrifice by taking on you know, clients. And you know, sometimes you just got to say no. You got to know what your limits are. But eventually, I came around. I completed this AAA by self-study, and so, which brings us to March and April, and I was quite fortunate to be able to clear that sitting, because even then everyone was wearing masks in the exam hall, so it was not very rosy to be doing ACCA at around the MCO or COVID period. Yeah. So just to sum it up, what kind of methods? Well, just bear in mind that in college life, it's really all about how much you can persevere. And actually, it's Alex Chung and not Andrew Tana that thought about it. It's Alex Chung. He mentioned 5 things. So you have to have perseverance. You know, things will go wrong. You can't expect perfection every single time. You know, you just have to do it again and again. And the second point is you have to have confidence in yourself. Like when I first started out with my bookkeeping task, I felt it was hindering, my insecurity was hindering my ability to prepare financial records properly, because, you know, although I studied this accounting beforehand, I wasn't really sure what a general ledger looked like in like what Brian mentions. And you know, it may surprise you, but the first general ledger which I saw was my own general ledger which I prepared. You know, no one showed me any template whatsoever. And then, of course, you have to have a passion for what you're doing. Unless your parents chose your major for you, show interest, don't complain. Yeah. And the last two things would be social responsibility. I guess you have to be responsible both for your social life and as well as your grades. Just balance the two. Last but not least, I think this holds true for anyone going through any professional accountancy program or just any endeavor. You just have to have some mental toughness to you. You just have to have thick skin for these unexpected bad things which happen. Thick skin for, say, you had a bad grade maybe this semester. You just have to push on and persevere and do it again and again until you make it. Yeah.
Yep.
Back to you, Brian.
Perseverance is definitely a key trait of I think of any successful person. So Xiong Yang, that's great to hear this advice from you. On a lighter note, so can you describe your experience studying ACCA with Sunway Test? Like who's your favorite lecturer? How was the facilities? Do you find that it was conducive for your ACCA study? Something on those lines.
Absolutely. Coming into the campus for the first time, I actually didn't join Sunway until maybe after 4 to 5 months, past graduation. I actually took the time off to do some internship work for a small-time magazine publishing company, and so the first time which I stepped into a campus, in fact, I didn't really have any pre-notion of any campus. I probably, before Sunway, I probably visited a few others, and when I just came into Sunway, the first thing that strikes me is the scale, the size of the campus, and the fact that it has all these really cool lifestyle amenities just around the corner. You have Pyramid, you have Lagoon. It's such a nice, pristine environment, and you also have this really great repository of knowledge. The library is just astounding. Whatever research you're into, I bet the Sunyu Library has more than enough to offer. And what more if say you're doing the OBU degree, you'll have plenty of reference material which you could find there. And so the plus side of being with Sunway is that it's an established brand, and I think Sunway is single-handedly responsible for, I would say, just a blind estimate, but maybe half of the accountants in practice today would have probably come out as whether they came in for a paper or two, but what really meshes that together is the Sunway experience. Coming into Sunway, the community, I think, is stellar. The support that you're getting from the teaching staff and the friends you meet. On the first day, the thing which I did when I was in the JC halls, I pulled out my phone, and everyone was just so happy. And we all took selfies and made some nice friends on just day one itself. And day two, we're taken through the orientation, and it was really a lot of fun. I would say the orientations on the first 2 days, so it gets you to break the ice and just get to know the people whom you'll be staying with throughout the journey. Especially when you're starting at CAT or F1 in ACCA, it is quite important for you to hold on to those connections, because in the words of this is quite memorable. For my F1, it was Mr. Bill. He said that over the years, if you're doing this course, you might come across what is known as probably like a D-Day scenario. You get people landing into Omaha Beach, and you've got maybe the first the fundamentals, the skills, applied knowledge paper, and you probably see 100% of your friends cleared a few papers with you, and as you move on, you start seeing new faces, and those friends of yours are probably either stuck or moved on to other things. So it's quite important as well to keep making new friends, and staying connected throughout the journey. My favorite lecturer, I don't like to play favorites because the way I see it, I just want to acknowledge the efforts of these amazing people for being every step of the way, and with their guiding hands and all. Mr. Bill for F1, Miss Lee for F2, Mr. Tan, Miss Lee for F3, Mr. Tan for F2, Miss Pushpa for her efforts in F4, Mr. Raj F5, Miss Kok, thanks for being with me for F6 and P6, Miss Shanta for F7, Miss Kiran, thank you for your guiding hands in F8. Mr. Michael, thanks for being such a fun lecturer to be around in F9. Mr. Go, thanks for your guidance in P1 and P7. Mr. Dinesh for P3. And last but not least, last but not least, we cannot fail to mention Miss Menon. You've been such a wonderful, wonderful lecturer in SBR, and I thank you for that.
It's probably the one thing that you will not forget is all the names of the lecturers from your time in Sunway Test. Yes, definitely won't. You might forget all the things you study, or that might change, but you won't forget who taught you, right? There's like so many papers over there. Yeah, so that's great. Thank you so much, Xiong Yang. And also, I want to ask you maybe a question on the future. So now you just graduated, right? And you are probably you have some experience in the job market. And I think a lot of people nowadays, because we get a qualification to get a job, or something like that, to find a way to, depending if they want to be sociable, they want to add value to society, or you want to get a job, if your objective is to make money. So do you feel confident about your future, particularly as an ACCA, Sunway Test ACCA graduate? Do you think that, because just now in the beginning, I think you might have heard me talk a little bit about what the future holds for accountancy. Do you feel confident that you are probably well equipped to handle this digital powered future in that case, and you as an ACCA graduate in that case?
All right. Personally, in my years doing ACCA, I've only probably encountered computer-based examinations only for the earliest stages, the F1 to F3 papers. But I think what's amazing about what the association is doing is that it's moving towards digitalization, which is really important because you get to prepare the candidates, ahead of time, what it's like to be not reporting to your seniors and managers in paper form, but instead preparing all the necessary documentation in electronic or digital form. This is really important, and the CBE computer-based examinations prepares you for that. It takes into account all the spreadsheets, the word processing skills, which is required of the entry level this accountant. And about the job market, though, there's this endemic issue with the existing job market, I feel, and this is of employers being really particular about job experience. For many of us, students, fresh grads, experience is just one of those things where it is hard to obtain, but still, that's so much demanded from the job market. So it would definitely help, in this case that Sunway has been really proactive in arranging such opportunities for exposure, arranging internships, and the biggest thing which I think Sunway has done to help its students to enhance the quality of our graduates would definitely be the audit simulation. And personally, I feel that the audit simulation in the first round, when you're doing it fresh out of the paper, F8 or P7, you might feel a little lost, and I guess that's a real test. It's a baptism by fire. They just cram you through the 7-8 days of just pure confusion, and you have to come up with your own audit plan, your own audit strategy, and then you have to present. So that I think is a real eye opener for many, myself included. But I feel that one thing, as great, I mean, it's already a great formula. There's no two ways about it. But I feel what would have probably enhanced the experience is that, you have all the candidates going through the audit simulation, and they pick up all these new things along the way. There's some lecturers to assist with the FAQ portion, but there's still this one thing which I think could enhance the experience, which is for Sunway to do maybe a post-mortem of the audit simulation. Well, you have to show that, okay, here are the challenges. Okay, you've done them, but let's show you probably a better way of doing it, right? So that way, the candidates, they'll complete their audit sim, but they'll still be able to learn, like, okay, what went wrong? Some I think after the audit sim, I probably spend the next 2 or 3 months thinking, how I could have made the whole thing better. How we could have audited better, how we could have enhanced the value of the audit report, stuff like that. So yes, Sunway Test, in short, prepares its students for working life ahead. And if you really want to get a head start in accounting, you probably shouldn't look any further than Sunway Test. I think hands down, based on past track record and all the alumni, you have a lot of connections and benefits if you were to join an established brand like Sunway Test and do your professional accounting courses there.
Sounds like it left a definite lasting experience on you for as far as the learning experience is concerned. That's great to hear. So we have some questions. Do we have any questions from the floor at the moment? Thank you very much, Xiong Yang, for that sharing. I think there's definitely a lot of people that will identify and also be inspired by what you've said so far. So we have some items so we have a question here from Slovana. I think this one we will definitely forward it to Sunway Test. There seems to be a demand for maybe juniors in the course to talk to the seniors. I think it would be a good experience to be reassured and talk to someone who has done it before. In my own experience, failure of an exam is not the end of the world. You can just pick yourself up and go on again. It's actually the best learning experience. Because you best learn from the mistakes. It will be a mistake not to learn from a mistake. I think that's the lesson to take away from doing that. We have some time over here, so I would like to share a little bit more about the future careers, because I think what's happening nowadays is people have maybe a lot of ideas or stories or rumors that they get about the accounting profession, in what it does and what it's going to look like in the future. I get a lot of questions from parents that I talk to on things like AI. What's AI? Is it going to take away my children's job? Do I need to be afraid of it? And things like that. So I'm just going to share a little bit of what these things are. I think it comes from we need to understand what we are talking about a little bit more. I would say that 99% of the world has heard about AI, right? But 99% does not know what the heck it is. So we just know that and we are always fearful of something that we don't know. So I'm just here as representing ACCA to just clarify a little bit on what these new technologies like blockchain and AI and fintech, and what has that got to do with my job as an accountant, as a finance professional, as a business professional? What has that got to do with me? First of all, I would like to say that an AI is a tool, T-O-L, tool, right? It is a tool. It helps you do your job better. It's a very smart tool, but there's a limit to what it can be used for. Okay, so for example, you can't ask a chess-based AI to drive a car. You can't do that. An AI that can do chess cannot do car, because they are intelligence algorithms designed to work in a particular space. in a particular problem space. I will call it a problem space, right? So unlike a human, which can switch between different problem space, first you wake up, you got to figure out how to drive to work. So that's a problem space. Then you go to class, you got to figure out how to understand what the lecturer is saying. Then you got to figure out what to eat for lunch. That's three. And then you got to figure out what your friend is telling you about his or her life. And you got to figure out the right thing to say. If within that first 2 hours of your morning, you've probably encountered a lot of different problem spaces, I will call that, right? And AI cannot deal with that. AI is very good at dealing with a very specific problem that might be very complicated. Like there's a lot of data or there's a lot of things. So what's that got to do with us? So what it does is it takes away the annoying job that we don't like to do. That's what AI does. It takes away the stuff. Look, so like for example, right? If you wanted to get something interesting out of a set of data, so imagine the set of data is like a sea, like an ocean of stuff, and you want to find a little nugget of information inside that sea. Last time, without AI, you will need to do that yourself. So you need to do like Excel spreadsheets, you need to do your own transformations, and then when you transform data from one way, then you want to arrange another way. This will take days, like days. Just talk about bank reconciliations for a conglomerate like Petronas. You want to do bank recon, just bank recon, just bank recon. They got thousands of accounts around the world. You just want to do bank recon. It's a lot of wasted time because doing the bank recon in itself is not a value-added exercise. It doesn't give you anything. It's just get it done. It's just so that you can find some little nuggets of information. AI, on the other hand, will come in and it will do all the bank recons for you. So that's done. And what happens after that is that you, as an accountant, a professional accountant, you now can deal with those little flags which have been found out by the AI, and you need to deal with that. That part cannot be dealt with an AI. AI can only tell you, okay, look, A seems to affect B. Why? There could be 1,000 reasons why, but you still need a human to make a decision there, and that part will not change. Second thing, and this is very important, we deal with humans. I would say one of the most important skills for an accountant nowadays is people skills, actually. Learning how to deal with other people. Because the computer is doing a lot of things by itself, you don't need to sit in front of the computer so much anymore, right? So you need to have some good people skills, like Xiong Yang over here, he's dealt with a lot of clients, probably have dealt with a lot of people skills there. So yeah, that's something we should cover on. I have a question here from Edward Science, right? So I'll just read it out. What's the benefits of taking ACCA as compared to degree in business if the ideal career path is to become an entrepreneur? You know what? Xiong Yang, have a shot at it. What do you think?
Yeah, no problem. So personally, I had the choice of whether I want to pursue a degree in accountancy or a degree in business, much at the same time as I was trying to weigh that option with ACCA. I feel that the reason why you would probably want to go for ACCA is because it offers you a shorter route, so to speak. With a degree in accountancy, you're trying to get, I think of it as a means to an end, okay? So the objective now is that you want to be an entrepreneur. Fine. But wouldn't it be nice if you could shorten the length, to make the entrepreneurship thing happen as fast as possible? I think ACCA prepares you for perhaps we don't get assignments, we don't get a lot of opportunities that the degree students have, but this is all compensated with the fact that ACCA deals with relevant topics. It deals with the latest in business financial reporting standards. It deals with tax laws, things which are very which are intertwined with the business process. And quite frankly, I would say in fact this was reflected to me way before I started accountancy, is that accountancy, much like business, is pretty much common sense in a way. These two words, a lot to put in these two words, but accounting gives you the technical skills which probably a degree in business might not, right? So if you were to really start your own business, you could perhaps the first benefit that you will gain will definitely be in terms of the overheads. You know, you won't have to hire an accountant, and you can do your own taxes. You know, how amazing is that? So, and because accounting, I would say, gets you to be a more organized individual. I think before I started accounting, my life is probably a much messier place than it would have been with ACCA. Unfortunately, the skills which I've built up thanks to my training in accountancy has sort of kept my life a little more organized than as it would. So back to the gist of the question, I think if you were to do an ACCA as opposed to a degree in business, you'll achieve your goals in a much shorter period of time, and it prepares you for auditing, where you get exposure to real business settings, exposure to real clients, real industries, and stuff that if you were to have a degree in business, because there's so many people out there with a degree in business, right? And even those individuals are coming in to do their ACCA. So what do you think? Would you like the shorter path, or maybe go around the degree this route and see where it takes you? The choice is yours, really. But I feel that ACCA is value for money, and it gets things done within 2.5 years, or 3 years.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yeah, I think that's a very apt answer, especially with someone with experience on both sides of this coin, entrepreneur, accountant. Just to add on a little bit, I think if you want to be an entrepreneur, the way to be an entrepreneur is just to go for it. It's regardless of what you're studying. It's regardless of what your background is, where you're from. I think being an entrepreneur just means going out there, have an idea, and just go with it. That's what it is, that's what being an entrepreneur about. But having an accounting as a solid foundation, a professional accountancy as a solid foundation, means that you pick up certain skills, which an entrepreneur would find transferable. Like, for example, if you take up audit, you realize you learn a lot about risk. You learn a lot about what makes a company tick. You learn a lot about something called assurance, like what is a contract really what it says it is? Is a number really what it says it is? If you take up things like, what other paper do you take, Xiong Yang?
For my optionals, I took ATX and AAA because I think it gives me options, right? With if you have an ATX and if you have a AAA, you might be eligible for the licenses which go with it. So another way to think about it is that ACCA is like a fallback plan. In case if your business venture doesn't turn out the way it should, you at least can be assured that the practical world still needs your skills and your talents as an accountant.
That's fantastic. Then I'm on the other side. I took P4 and P5 at the time, Advanced Financial Management, Advanced Performance Management. I would say, especially because Advanced Financial Management is about valuations of companies. It's about finance, which is a slightly different language from financial accounting. Because financial accounting is all about prudence, I would say, and financial valuation, on the other hand, is about the value of your dreams. Your future, what's going to happen in the future that's going to affect you right now. And performance management. Well, that's if you want to become a CEO or a COO, you got to take APM. You got to take that paper. That's the one where you learn how to read dashboards. You think about KPIs. You try to get your people and your staff to be functional, to do the right thing. They don't be dysfunctional. Like you pay them money to do the wrong thing, which happens way too often in companies nowadays. You pay them, and then it's like paying people per hour. And then what they do is they just want to work slower so that they earn more hours. That's kind of sad, isn't it? So APM, if you want to be a CEO, I think there's a good balance between what Xiong Yang is saying and also other experience. So we have no other questions from the floor. We have one. I think we have an earlier question on face-to-face encounters with seniors. I'm sure Sunway Test will get back to you on that. That is a great thing. So, any last words, Xiong Yang, to encourage your fellow students and also those on the channel who might be listening? Any last motivations?
Sure. Here's something you can probably take away with you if you're watching this. I say be kind to your current situation, right? So you might have thoughts in your head about what you want to achieve in life, all right? But are those really your expectations, your dreams, or are those someone else's aspirations, which because of that, because of the influence on you, that it got you thinking that other way? Yeah, be kind to your current situation. Not everyone needs to go overseas. Not everyone needs to graduate with a master's degree. Not everyone needs to go into the Big Four. Not everyone needs to stick with a job until they retire. Right? It is your move, right? And and if you feel that accounting is what you're passionate about, just try to envision yourself where you'll be in probably 5 or 10 years. Are you still doing accounting? If that's so, please make the right choice and do your ACCA at Sunway Test.
All right, and with that, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you very much for your time. We will see you again in the next session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.